Hey, so I want to tell you about something that's haunted me for years. I've never really talked about it out loud before, except maybe in bits and pieces to close friends. But I think it's time I finally share the whole story. Maybe someone out there will understand, or at least I won't feel so alone with it anymore. This happened back in the early 2000s, when I was about 12. I was a pretty normal kid, awkward, obsessed with cartoons, and always up way too late on weekends. My parents both worked night shifts, so I had the house to myself a lot. I'd curl up on the living room floor with a bowl of cereal and just lose myself in whatever was on Cartoon Network. I know it sounds silly, but those shows were like my friends. They made me feel safe, even when the house was creaking and the wind was howling outside. But there was one night, one show, that changed everything, and I still don't know if what I saw was real or if it was some kind of nightmare. All I know is, after that night, nothing ever felt safe again. It was a Friday. I remember because I just finished a big math test, and I was so relieved to be done with school for the week. My parents left for work around 9 p.m., and I settled in for my usual marathon of cartoons. The lineup was pretty standard: Ed, Ed and Eddie, Courage the Cowardly Dog, maybe some reruns of Dexter's. But then, around midnight, something weird happened. The screen glitched, like actual static, white noise, flickering lines, the whole thing. I thought maybe the cable was acting up, but then a new show started. I'd never seen it before. The title card was just black, with these shaky white letters that said, "The House on Larch Lane." I remember thinking it was probably some new pilot, or maybe a Halloween special they were testing out. But it didn't look like any Cartoon Network show I'd ever seen. The animation was off, kind of jerky, almost like stop motion, but not in a fun way. The colors were washed out, and the music was this weird, droning hum that made my skin crawl. The show started with a shot of a house, just a regular, boring house, on a street lined with dead trees. The camera panned in slowly, and I swear I could almost hear the wind rustling through the branches. It felt too real, like I was actually standing there, outside that house. The main character was a little boy named Jamie. He looked about my age, with messy hair and big, sad eyes. He was home alone, just like me. The first few minutes were just him wandering around the house, looking out the windows, talking to himself. It was kind of boring, honestly, but there was this tension in the air, like something was about to happen. Every so often, the screen would flicker, and I'd catch glimpses of something, a shadow in the hallway, a face in the window. But whenever Jamie turned to look, there was nothing there. I started to feel uneasy, but I couldn't look away. It was like the show was daring me to keep watching. About 15 minutes in, things got really strange. Jamie started hearing noises upstairs. Footsteps, whispering, the sound of something dragging across the floor. He grabbed a flashlight and crept up the stairs, calling out for his mom. The animation got even shakier, like the whole house was vibrating. Then, the screen glitched again. For a split second, I saw something that didn't look animated at all. It was a real hallway, lit by a single, flickering bulb. There was a shadow at the end of it, tall, thin, and moving in this unnatural, jerky way. I blinked, and the cartoon was back. But now Jamie was standing in the same hallway I'd just seen. He opened a door at the end of the hall, and the screen went black. I thought maybe the show was over. But then I heard this horrible, wet sound, like someone dragging a heavy bag across the floor. The picture came back, and Jamie was gone. The camera just lingered on the empty room, the flashlight rolling in a slow circle on the floor. And then the show changed. The animation faded out, replaced by what looked like actual home video footage. The quality was grainy, but I could make out a living room. Old furniture, faded wallpaper, a TV in the corner. There was a man sitting on the couch, staring straight ahead. He looked wrong. His eyes were too wide. His mouth twisted into this awful grin. Suddenly, the man stood up and walked out of frame. The camera followed him down a hallway. The same hallway from before. He stopped in front of a door, turned to look at the camera, and whispered something I couldn't quite make out. It sounded like, "He's here." The door creaked open, and for a moment, I saw a flash of something red on the floor. The man stepped inside, and the camera dropped to the ground. All I could see were feet, his and someone else's, lying motionless. There was a horrible, choking sound, and then silence. The screen went black again, and this time it stayed that way. No credits, no commercials, nothing, just darkness. I sat there, frozen, for what felt like hours. My cereal had gone soggy, and the house was so quiet I could hear the clock ticking in the kitchen. I tried to tell myself it was just a weird show, maybe some kind of prank or experimental film, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd seen something I wasn't supposed to. I waited for the next show to start, but the screen stayed black. Eventually, I turned off the TV and went to bed, but I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that hallway, that door, that flash of red. The next morning, I tried to find out more about the show. I checked the TV guide, but there was no mention of the house on Larch Lane. I even called Cartoon Network's customer service line, but the woman on the phone just laughed and said they'd never aired anything like that. I asked my friends at school if they'd seen it, but no one knew what I was talking about. It was like the whole thing had never happened. But then, a few days later, I saw something on the local news that made my blood run cold. There'd been a murder on Larch Lane, a street just a few towns over. A man had killed his son in their home late at night. The details were eerily similar to what I'd seen on the show. The hallway, the door, the red on the floor. The news said the police had found a video camera in the house, still recording when they arrived. Don't know what I saw that night. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me, mixing up the show with the news report. But I can't shake the feeling that I watched something real, something that wasn't meant for me or anyone else to see. For years, I tried to find that episode again. I searched online forums, lost media websites, even the dark corners of the internet, but there's nothing. No screenshots, no clips, not even a mention of the house on Larch Lane. It's like it never existed. Sometimes, late at night, I'll turn on the TV and flip through the channels, half hoping, half dreading that I'll see that title card again. But I never do. All I have are the memories and the nightmares. I still wonder if anyone else saw it. If maybe, somewhere out there, there's another kid who watched that show and felt the same cold dread I did. Or maybe I really was the only one. I guess I'll never know for sure. But if you're listening to this, and any of this sounds familiar, please let me know. I just want to know I'm not alone. Thanks for listening. I know this story is a lot, but it's something I've carried with me for a long time, and I just needed to get it out. If you've ever experienced something you can't explain, something that's stuck with you long after it should have faded, you're not alone. Stay safe out there, and maybe double check what's on your TV late at night.